Hey, ESPN, I'm Jack.
And I'm Miles from the Daily Zeitgeist, a daily comedic news podcast that answers the question,
what if Stephen A. Smith spoke at a normal volume and his opinions were based on fact and not completely insane? This probably isn't the best way to describe this.
No, you just negated the two things Stephen A. Smith is known for.
Okay, what if The Daily Show was hosted by us?
Yes, but who is us?
Okay, I'm Jack. I'm the co-founder of Crack.com.
And I'm Miles. I love soccer and get very nervous when I'm pulled over by the police.
He's also a former lobbyist who quit politics for comedy.
Yeah. Well, look, we covered news, the president, pop culture, and we're both very big sports fans.
I'm actually named after my grandfather, legendary NBA coach and ESPN alum Dr. Jack Ramsey.
Oh, yeah? Well, I'm named after Miles Davis, a legendary heroin addict who is not my grandfather.
So search the Daily Zeitgeist. If you don't know how to spell zeitgeist, like most of us, just type in Daily Z. It'll figure it out for you. On Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever fine podcasts are given away for free.
And now, Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio.
When I pop the trunk, head the dirt. Y'all pop the trunk, I pop the hood.
Now act stupid, I'll pop the trunk. Now give me your boom.
He's Jalen Rose.
What up, dog?
I'm David Jacoby.
And on the cool check-in.
And we are Jalen Jacoby on ESPN Radio. What do we do, Jalen?
We get the people what they want.
The people wanted the Eastern Conference and the NBA to get more interesting, and in my opinion, it just got a lot more interesting. There are two developments that could change seeding, that could change who ends up in the Eastern Conference Finals and who ends up in the NBA Finals. And, of course, I'm talking about Serge Ibaka being shipped up north to join Drake and the rest of the Raptors. The Raptors shipped down Terrence Ross and a first-round pick. When you heard about this trade, what was your first reaction, Mr. Rose?
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
And I just can't hide it.
Me too.
Because here's what we know. On paper, the team that faces the Cleveland Cavaliers in the Eastern Conference Finals and loses in 6 is going to celebrate their season.
Mm-hmm.
There are a few teams that have vied for that position and been jockeying all year. First, the Toronto Raptors, who they faced the last couple of years in that round. They have not played good basketball. They've dealt with some injuries.
Yep.
But continue to slide in the East based on some losses that they've occurred lately. The Boston Celtics, where Isaiah Thomas has been terrific. They were just 4-1 on a West Coast trip. And the Washington Wizards, led by John Wall and Bradley Beal, who now see themselves legitimately as 3 teams that expect to be in the Eastern Conference Finals versus hoping to be there.
If you weren't paying attention, you wouldn't know that right now the Raptors are in the 5 position in the East. It's Cavs, Celtics, Wizards, Hawks, and then Raptors. They needed to do something. They lost 3 games in a row. But listen to this, Jalen Rose. If you tell me you've got a starting 5 and a finishing 5 of Kyle Lowry, DeMar DeRozan, DeMar Carroll, Serge Ibaka, and Valanciunas, I would say that team can go up against almost any team in the league. Do you think that this makes them favorites to face the Cavs in the Eastern Conference Finals?
It does.
Ooh.
It should.
Ooh.
However, you just mentioned that they're in the 5 spot, and it's going to take time to get Ibaka acclimated.
Yep.
The Washington Wizards and as I mentioned, the Boston Celtics have been on a tear. And we can't overlook the Atlanta Hawks, who announced they're not trading Paul Millsap. They still sit in the mix.
Mm-hmm.
However, that starting 5 you just mentioned, the difference in the Raptors' chances versus the other teams, the Golden State Warriors, to me, are the favorite in the league. They have 4 All-Stars.
Sure.
The Cleveland Cavaliers have 3. Well, the Toronto Raptors have 2. And they both play in the backcourt. So with that being said, I have to give them the edge, the pole position, to be the favorite to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. But clearly there's a lot of basketball yet to be played.
And much like the 3 spot on the Clippers, the 4 spot has always been a bit of a weakness for the Raptors. I mean, look, Patrick Patterson is great and everything, but
He's all right, but he's not real.
And if you're really trying to play Jared Sullinger meaningful minutes in a playoff, that's just not going to work out well for you.
What is the phrase that you coined for the modern day athlete when we did a Charles Barkley salute and so many other guys that it just reminded me of when you mentioned Sullinger's name.
Jared Sullinger is a prototypical stretch mark 4. He is a stretch
describe
mark
to
4.
the audience what that means in a David Jacoby-ism,
Well,
please?
for those of you that don't listen to the podcast every day and the radio show every day, a stretch mark 4 is a stretch 4 that has a little bit of girth to him, perhaps some stretch marks. And Sullinger is right there. And some players have played themselves into stretch mark 4 shape, and some players have wavered a little bit throughout their careers. But like a Boris Diaw comes to mind as a solid stretch mark 4, and none other than the person that led the stretch mark 4 movement, the great NBA legend Charles Barkley.
Absolutely. And rest in peace to one of the all-time members, my friend and former Michigan alum and Detroit native, the great Robert Tractor Trailer.
And then you get guys like Sean Kemp who weren't stretch mark 4s until later in their career. If you look at some pictures of Sean, you're like, wait, what? Did he eat Gary Payton?
That was after the lockout in particular in Cleveland.
Yep.
But I do agree with you. Relying on Sullinger to play a lot of minutes isn't something that an Eastern Conference finalist can rely on, but they still have Corey Joseph. They have Patterson. But the starting 5 that you acknowledge is really solid, led by an all-star backcourt.
Now, would you think that the Cavs or the Celtics are a bigger threat? I'm sorry, that the Raptors or the Celtics are a bigger threat to the Cavs?
If I had to rank them based on their rosters right now, everything in a vacuum, I would say the Raptors 1, the Wizards 2. I have to see Avery Bradley back healthy with the Celtics. They would be 3, and or tied with the Hawks.
So here's something I want to ask you. If you're Danny Ainge, and you look at the Love injury, and you look at the Raptors getting better, is there a part of you that says, let's get this Jimmy Butler thing done? Like, they've been looking at Jimmy Butler. They've been looking at Jimmy Butler. It's been rumored. There's been things. There's this and that. Everybody knows that the Celtics need to add an all-star to truly beat the Cavs. Do you think this will motivate the Celtics to make a trade?
Not any more motivated than they already were. I got breaking news for everybody. If you haven't been listening to this podcast, this fine program, the Clippers have needed a 3 for the last 5 years. The Raptors have needed a 4 for the last 4 years. So I ain't going to sit here and act like now the Celtics are more motivated to add Jimmy Butler. They should already be motivated because that, to me, puts them in a position to be amongst those teams vying for the Eastern Conference Finals legitimately, along with the way Isaiah Thomas is playing, because he's been outstanding, especially in the fourth quarter.
So here's something I want to see happen. I really want to see Carmelo Anthony traded to the Cavs for Kevin Love.
Not going to be able to do it!
I'm not gonna be able to do it.
Now that Love is injured, he's going to have surgery, he's going to be out 6 weeks. Is that just make it impossible to make that trade now?
I know you're a Die Easy Knicks fan, and just like how you do me, I barely listen to what you say. And I know you clearly ignored me telling you this, so I'm going to tell you this again. James Dolan owns the team. He'll be there for the long haul.
Okay.
Phil Jackson can opt out after this year, but why would you do so and leave 2 more years of $24 million total on the table? So he'll be there. And Carmelo Anthony and his no-trade clause will also be in uniform for the remainder of this season, sir.
Really? The Clippers aren't going to make some sort of 3-team deal happen? There's no chance that Carmelo leaves?
The head-scratching part for me is when you're a team like Boston, the Raptors, or the Clippers, you're not the favorite. You got to make a splash move. Shake it up a little bit. Clippers, hey, you need a 3. Hey, Clippers. Let me tell you some of the people that played 3 for the Clippers the last handful of years.
The list is so long.
Okay. Danny Granger, Grant Hill, Steven Jackson, Lance Stevenson.
Yes.
Is Paul Pierce still on the roster?
Yeah, he's there.
Wesley Johnson. The best one of the group, Matt Barnes. You get my point. You have to go after Anthony if you can keep your core 4, I'm meaning Chris Paul, as well as J.J. Redick Blake, and DeAndre. If you can get a deal done without giving up one of those 4 players, Los Angeles Clippers brass. Do it immediately. You're not better than the Golden State Warriors. Do they need me to tell them that?
No.
Oh, okay.
Not at all. Right now, I want to talk to you, Jalen Rose. Once upon a time, you announced the date and the location for the Mayweather-McGregor super fight. It never really came to fruition, but it never disappeared either. And now it's starting to remind me of the Pacquiao-Mayweather thing, where just every 3 months it feels like it's going to get close, and then it doesn't happen, and then there's a report, in somewhere that we're almost close to terms, and then someone on social media says it didn't happen. What is going on with this fight?
What is the former pretty boy Floyd Mayweather's, what is his nickname?
Money?
Okay. With that being said, the purse can't be equal. As a matter of fact, it's going to be a 90-10 purse as far as he's concerned. As long as that's the case, I don't see those two individuals facing off.
Neither do I.
Here's the other thing. There's somebody else that's got to get into Conor pockets, which makes it tougher. Mm-hmm. The UFC and Dana White.
Dana White needs his money, too. He's like, y'all can fight. That's fine. Just as long as you pay me, too.
Correct. And so those barriers and the fact that Floyd's happily retired, one of the most not only accomplished athletes that we've ever seen, but one of the, if not the highest grossing athlete that we've seen. If the dollars ain't right, it won't make sense. And so this theory that, hey, we're going to give them both $25 million or we're going to both give them $100 million, they both ain't getting nothing. The number could be $500 million. If the purse is a billion, Floyd wants $900 million.
That's a lot of money.
Okay?
That doesn't seem fair. Let's be honest.
That's just how it's going down.
But how about this, Jalen? I want you to split the purse right now. We'll just call it $100 million just because it's easy to split
great.
up. Let's just do that. $100 million. How would you split it? You're a mediator. You've been hired by these people. They say, you know what? We need someone who's really smart to negotiate this. Let's bring in Jalen Rose.
$70 million to Floyd, 15 to the UFC, 15 to Conor.
That's not enough for Conor. 70%.
Conor has never made over $2 or $3 million in an evening.
Yeah, but here's the thing is, that's fine. I get that. But this fight is going to sell a lot more than anything he has ever done in the past.
You'll get a percentage of that.
I would
it's still going to be 70 for Floyd, 15% for Conor, and 15% for the UFC.
Well, Floyd on Instagram said, there seems to be several rumors floating around media recently. However, let the record show there hasn't been any deals made in regards to a fight between myself and any other fighters. I'm happily retired and enjoying life at this time. If any changes are to come, be sure that I will be the first to let the world know. And then McGregor travels to Las Vegas, and he tweets this. I love this. I am in Vegas. Floyd has retired on my arrival. Is there any truth to what McGregor said?
McGregor probably went there to handle that debt he got. He wasn't going there just for Floyd.
Yep.
He not hard to find.
I don't think this fight's going to happen. No. But I also don't think that we're going to stop talking about it anytime soon. That's the thing. No. It reminds me of the Pacquiao-Mayweather thing. Do you remember how many years we talked about Pacquiao-Mayweather? How many years, Jalen?
But here's the difference. That happened years too late. This won't take place that way because one of the combatants is retired.
This Oakley-Dolan mess continues to spiral. Oakley now wants, quote, I want to have a press conference. I want him to apologize to me and the fans. And, of course, he's talking about Dolan. Is there any chance that Charles Oakley gets a public apology?
I don't think based on how everything transpired, the Knicks are ready to do that because it will come off as being hypocritical based on the visual evidence we saw, the releases that they did, including the one for the press. Dolan is not prepared to do that, so therefore I don't think the fence will be truly mended. I saw the divide and conquer tactic that he did, his art of war. That's a devious trick. Inviting Latrell Sprewell back into the Garden.
Come on, Spree.
13 years.
Come on, Spree.
After 13 years.
Come on, Spree.
I love Spree. I still have nightmares playing against he and those teams with Allen Houston and Patrick Ewing. Teams with Oak, then teams with Larry Johnson. One of my most exciting moments winning the Eastern Conference in Indiana happened in the Garden. And one of the most dubious moments happened, LJ's 4-point play in the Garden. With that being said, I hated the fact that James Dolan used my brother Sprewell. And let me teach everybody exactly what he did. He traded 10 years of Oakleys service for 5 years of Sprewell service for public consumption. Mm-hmm. And, man, that's a devious tactic. That's a dirty game. And so with that, Oak is smart enough to say, before I go back, I'm going to make sure you apologize to me because you're not going to catch me out there.
If you're Latrell Sprewell, why do you go to that game?
Wink, wink deal?
You think there was a payment made?
I don't think a physical payment took place. However, when you go back to the Garden after you hadn't been there in 13 years, when you first returned to the Garden, you got fined by the NBA $25,000 for cursing, said James Dolan. There clearly was some sort of agreement that took place to say, hey, we'll honor you. Hey, we'll put you up. All expenses paid. Mm-hmm. Maybe they sent the jet. Maybe they sent the check. Maybe they gave cash. But it was more than just, to me, an acknowledgement. But only Dolan and Spree would know if a cash payment took place. But I'm friends with Spree. And I know he has integrity. But I'm also friends with Larry Johnson and Charles Oakley. So I hated to see all three of those individuals in a triangle publicly being puppeteered in a negative way against one another by the owner of the Knicks, Mr. James Dolan.
Larry, I get. He's a Knick employee. You know what I mean? I do whatever the boss says. The boss wants me to come to a basketball game, I'm at the basketball game. You know, I get it. Keep getting the checks.
True story. LJ, holla at your boy. You're supposed to come to the golf outing this past year.
Oh, come on, LJ. Carmelo Anthony on the Knicks spiraling out of control. He says, quote, "It takes special people to deal with this. It's only here in New York. If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. I believe that." What does he mean by it takes special people to deal with this?
Where was Carmelo Anthony born?
Brooklyn, New York.
Where did Carmelo Anthony want to go to get out of Denver?
New York City.
How many times has he re-signed to play in New York?
Once.
Okay. Have they made it far in the playoffs any of those years?
No.
Okay. Let me teach the fans and media something. I literally die laughing when you guys give us credit for two things. Being in shape and dealing with the media.
Mm-hmm. It takes special people, though, Jalen. It takes a special person. It's also like, I know what you get paid, Carmelo. I don't feel too bad for you. You know when it's not hard to make it in New York? When you're making $20 million a year. New York gets a lot easier then. It gets a lot easier.
Correct. And you know what else makes it a lot easier? When you got a no-trade clause.
Exactly. Yeah, if you didn't have a no-trade clause, you wouldn't be making it in New York. Also, there's this, which is just the saddest little nugget to all of this. They put out the Forbes NBA evaluation list again. Guess who's on top? Guess who the most valuable franchise in the entire National Basketball Association is?
The New York Knickerbockers.
So sad. It's just so sad. So at some point, Dolan says, "Oh, I'm losing? Oh, we're losing? Oh, I'm out of control? This is all falling apart?" Well, guess what? Look at the Forbes list. Real quick, I have a question, Jalen. Is LeBron James being overlooked as a potential MVP?
No.
Why do you say it so definitively?
Just last month, the Cavaliers had the worst record of any month in LeBron James' career.
Mm-hmm.
He was also talking about how the team needed a playmaker because they were struggling.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, he appeared to be that playmaker, having double-figure assists consistently, playing wonderful basketball, not only getting rebounds, but scoring and playing like an all-time great.
Shooting threes like he never has before.
But the MVP conversation is going to be relegated to a historical content, and that's two people, James Harden who I've seen have 50 points a couple of times in triple-doubles.
Mm-hmm.
And Russell Westbrook, who's just so happened to average a triple-double, the first person since the Big O. They are head and shoulders candidates 1 and 2. Now, you want to talk about LeBron. You want to talk about KD. You want to talk about Kawhi. We can do that. No question. All NBA performers. But the MVP race is a two-person sweepstakes.
Do you think LeBron James is the best player in the league?
I do.
So do I. That's why I feel like he's being overlooked in the MVP conversation. Because at the end of the day, he's the best player in the National Basketball Association.
We have the best radio show, podcast, and television show, but we can't win awards every year. As a matter of fact, we haven't won any.
We won an award. It's right here in the studio. Where is it? We got an award. Best Sports Podcast from like the Podcast Academy. Whoever voted on that, shout to them.
We love them.
Yeah, we love them. I'm going to the awards next year, even if we're not nominated, just to thank them.
Yep.
LeVar Ball. Lonzo Ball's dad, LaMelo Ball's dad, LiAngelo Ball's dad. He's feeling himself right now. All of his kids are just doing it. He's just looking at the next 20 years of his life like, this is going to be great. I'm just going to travel city to city and watch my sons play NBA games. I cannot imagine a better existence than that. He was asked about Lonzo Ball's potential in the National Basketball Association. Lonzo Ball is the oldest, the one who's now playing at UCLA, playing well. And he was asked by TMZ Sports, shout out to them, if his son Lonzo would be as good as Steph Curry in the NBA. And he said, no. My son's going to be better than Steph Curry in the NBA. What? Is this just a proud parent, or is this a possibility?
It's not a possibility. It's a proud parent. He isn't in a position to put an umbrella on his son's talents because unless you're a Plumlee, who can see so many of their sons play at such a high level, all consistently, to the point where they all can legitimately be in the NBA? So because of that, I understand the confidence and the ability to project and want one of his kids, if not all of them, to be all-time greats. But we ain't going to go to Steph Curry route.
I just looked up his stats. You know, I saw this. I was like, let me just see what Lonzo's up to. He's averaging just over 15 points a game, 2.5 turnovers, 6 rebounds, 7.5 assists is impressive. But he's not exactly tearing up college basketball right now.
Nope.
But he will be picked early. We all know that. Zach Lowe.
Get low. Get low.
Had a report. He said this, quote, Detroit. Zach Lowe says Detroit has quietly explored the trade market for each of its franchise centerpieces, according to sources across the league. What? And they have come away disappointed with the potential return. Jalen, is it possible that the Pistons trade Andre Drummond or Reggie Jackson?
How many All-Stars did the Pistons have this year?
0.
When that's your roster, you're listening to phone calls, you're making phone calls. It's your job to see what's out there. When I hear speculation about an all-NBA performer being traded, that's news to me. When I hear speculation about players in the league being discussed, even if they made the All-Star team, that is people doing their due diligence. So I don't think a deal will happen. I'm not surprised to hear it. And it's par for the course in professional sports.
Have you been disappointed by the Pistons this year? Be honest, Jalen.
I would have hoped that what I see out of the Washington Wizards, for example, I would have saw out of the Detroit Pistons. But making it to the playoffs is an accomplishment that they achieved last year. So you hope this year would be to make it to the next round. We have to see how that's going to play out, but they will be a playoff team, and they will be judged how this season progresses. A lot of times these rumors are also out there to light fires under the players that are being mentioned.
Are you sure they'll be a playoff team, Mr. Rose? They currently have a 1-game lead over the Bucks in the 8th spot.
They'll be a playoff team.
Are you sure, Jalen?
Yes.
We'll see. We'll see. Jonathan Abrams, a Grantland veteran, wrote this. That Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson, in their prime, almost played one-on-one in Las Vegas in a pay-per-view event. Do you remember this at all? I do not remember this at all.
I don't remember this, and I'm not sure if they were going to play 21 or up to 10, but I love Magic. He wouldn't have had a chance in that game.
So here's my question. Who would you currently see? Who would you pay $60 to see play one-on-one out of today's NBA right now?
So many players.
I want to
all
see
of the guys that I mentioned.
Just give me Westbrook and Durant. I would pay $200. I would pay $250 for Westbrook and Durant. If they were really motivated, I would love that.
Yep, all of the high-level performers. Westbrook and Durant. How about LeBron and Kawhi?
That'd be great.
I got more for you. What about Steph Curry and Isaiah Thomas or John Wall?
Ooh. Can we get Boogie involved?
Boogie versus Anthony Davis?
Yeah. We should do this. All-Star Weekend's coming right up. Like, would you rather watch that or the skills to competition? You want to see someone throw a bounce pass into a basket?
James Harden against anybody?
How would you set up the rules?
It can't. First off, if it's winner take out, playing against some of the best players, a guy could get hot, make 3, 4, 5 in a row, and the game would be over.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to go up to at least 10. And threes count as 2. Loser take out.
I like
one
loser
shot.
take out.
One shot. 3 dribbles. So here are all the rules. Game to 10. 1 shot attempt per possession. Loser take out. Only 3 dribbles maximum per possession.
Jalen, are you sure you're not going to play in Ice Cube's 3-on-3 League?
I appreciate being asked to play, but I got to let the world in on a secret that you may not realize.
What's the secret?
Unlike most of the guys that are going to participate, I've been retired 10 years.
You've never retired, Jalen.
From playing in the NBA. So I don't see myself competing at that type of level to where I want to be mad if my team wins or loses anymore.
Fair enough. Very important update about the wave battle we have going on here at Jalen and Jacoby between Reggie and Jalen. Reggie has consistently had better waves. I didn't really know what waves were until I started working on this show. Reggie, though, stand-up guy he is, he gave Jalen a do-rag. He gave Jalen some of the goop that he uses, and he gave Jalen multiple brushes. So what's the wave update right now, Jalen?
The wave update is Reggie has them, and I don't.
Okay, good. Look, we can all improve. On Women Crush Wednesday, we're going to move on to one thing that we love here at Jalen and Jacoby are power couples. There's a new rumored power couple that involves an NBA player that you once played with, Mr. Rose. Familiar with the tennis star Caroline Wozniacki?
Yes.
She's been hinting on social media that she is dating none other than the Spurs' David Lee. We love power couples here. What do you think about this athlete power couple?
I love it.
Me too.
I like how David Lee continues to reinvent himself as an NBA player. When you look at a team play, and then he comes in a game and he gets 2 or 3 buckets real quick, you're like, he's still in the league?
He always does, though. My favorite thing about him is just his ability to finish with both hands very comfortably.
No doubt.
Very
so I'm
comfortably.
happy for him.
I think he might actually be ambidextrous.
I'm happy for him. I'm rooting for them. And hopefully it'll continue to lead to a prosperous relationship.
David Lee always seemed real cool to me. Is he cool?
Yeah, he's cool. I played with him. I got love for him.
I have an update, Jalen. One of my favorite franchises is the Bachelor franchise on reality television on ABC. Now, I know you don't normally care about these shows, but they made an announcement. They have announced that the next Bachelorette is a black woman. The very first black bachelor or bachelorette in the history of the franchise is coming. Her name is Rachel. She's a lawyer from Texas. Is this going to get you to tune into the show?
Absolutely not.
I didn't think so. You watched the Westminster Dog Show, though, right? I'm sure you did.
I saw bits and pieces of it on SportsCenter.
Did you see Rumor, the German Shepherd winner of the Westminster Dog Show? One thing I know.
I saw the German Shepherd, didn't realize the Shepherd actually won.
One thing I know, being a producer in television, is that the Westminster Dog Show does really well ratings. It rates really well. Here's my question for you. If you were going to have a dog now, what breed of dog would you have if you could just select one?
If I was going to have a dog now, South African Borbals.
I have no idea what that is. What? I didn't know you had such depth of knowledge when it comes to Borbals.
What?
I can't even. Oh, here we go. Where did you get this? Oh, that's a good looking dog.
I had a boy and a girl when I was in Indiana.
Okay.
I just traveled so much, and my house had a dog run, an amazing space, and all of that good stuff that I could care for the dogs with quality. But once I got traded to Chicago, you all of a sudden going from staying in your house to staying in a hotel room.
Oh, no. What happened to the Borbals?
And then you go from staying in a hotel room to getting a loft.
No space
the
for the
male
dogs.
version is 170 plus pounds.
Wow.
The female version is around 150 pounds.
Wow. What did you name these
I
dogs?
ended up-
Did you give them real ignorant names, Jalen?
Would you say?
Did you give them ignorant names?
I did give them ignorant names.
What did you name these dogs?
Bonnie and Clyde.
That's not bad. That's not bad. I like that. I like that. I had no idea you had such in-depth knowledge about South African Borbals. I learn something new every day. Now I know what a South African Borbal is. Latrell Sprewell is not just sitting next to James Dolan for money. He is also playing in the 3-on-3 League. What do you think about this league?
I'm happy that people still get a chance to do what they love, get paid for it, and ignite a passion of something that you are really good at, you are really elite at, and that's fun. One of the things that I promised myself this year, that I was going to play more basketball. I actually like to play basketball.
Mm-hmm.
And so I personally, since I've been retired 10 years and have dealt with a couple of injuries to my knee, to my shoulder, can't dedicate 10 weeks in the summer to being in the gym playing competitive basketball, caring whether my team wins or loses. I'd rather worry about who got next.
Well, a woman turned down a man for a second date in the UK. He sent her a bill for half of the cost of the first date. Fair or foul?
Foul.
You can't do that.
What?
You can't do that.
What?
You can't do that. Come on, man.
What?
Come on. You're making us all look bad, especially on Woman Crush Wednesday. We can't have that kind of behavior.
Nope.
Jalen Rose. Tom Brady says he can play quarterback in the National Football League into his mid-40s.
What?
He's about to turn 40 next year. If anybody could do it, it could be him. Is this feasible? Could you see another 4 or 5 years from Tom Brady?
4 or 5 years, no. 2, 3, yes. He's achieved such success and all-time greatness, which is also anticipated and expected by his head coach, Bill Belichick, that soon as there is any level of decline, he'll be done.
Yep.
He's not going to give us those lost tape years like we saw from Kobe his last few with the Lakers, or that we're seeing with Dwayne Wade right now in Chicago, or Paul Pierce with the Clippers.
Brett Favre comes to mind on the Jets.
Yes, he's not going to give us those lost tape years. So because of that, I say 2 or 3.
OJ Made in America has been rerunning all weekend, nominated for an Oscar. I watched a little bit of it the last couple days. Excellent, excellent documentary. Just made me think about OJ and learn so much about him and his life, not just with the case, but beyond the case with his second case where he was given a lot of years in prison for some really unsavory dealings in Las Vegas. He could potentially get out of jail this summer, Jalen Rose. What do you expect from OJ when he gets out? What will this next chapter of Orenthal James Simpson's life be?
He need to walk out and go get straight on the plane, get out of this country, and never come back.
Wow. Wow. Why is that?
Because his reputation is so marred and his dealings with citizens is going to be so volatile, and people are going to continue to heckle him 100-fold more than any athlete could possibly imagine while they're competing. And based on that, the only way he can live a normal lifestyle is outside of the United States. And there are many people, and I think I'm in this camp, probably not the smartest dude, because after he beat that case that a lot of people, myself included, felt like he beat the case, you get off a murder trial and all of a sudden you get locked up for thievery.
One of the most interesting parts of the documentary was the final installment when they really explore his life after the trial. It just seemed like he kind of spun out of control. He was in Miami, just there was some drug implications, and then he's in Vegas, kind of running in people's hotel rooms. Just sort of the people that he was dealing with, the decisions that he was making. It just seemed like his life really, he didn't use his time that he was given wisely. Let's just say that. And I hope that if he is released again, that he just goes low profile. I don't want to see him trying to sell me any rental cars or try to come out with a late night talk show, because there are going to be people that will want a piece of that OJ light. But I just need him just to kind of, as you said, just lay low and go away. I appreciate his time. Magic Johnson's talking about the Lakers again. Your colleague, Irvin, Magic Johnson, who you refer to as
the Hall of Fame mogul.
He wants to make some change in the Lakers. He's been hired as a consultant. He wants to call the shots. And here's what he said. Quote, "First call I'll make if I'm in charge, Kobe Bryant. What? Because Kobe understands winning. He understands also these players, And so I would call and say, what role do you want, bro? If you've got a day, just give me that day. I'll take that. Whatever time he has, I want him to come and be a part of it." Would this be a good idea for the Lakers?
So here's what the Buss family is saying when Magic's not around. Let us get this right. We have a family-owned business. We dictate who we hire and fire. We decide to bring this gentleman on as a consultant. We ink the deal. And before he walks out of the room, he says he wants to call the shots. He also writes another check to another gentleman named Kobe Bryant, who we just gave $100 million to the last 4 years to play basketball.
Yeah, I don't think we need to write any more checks to Kobe Bryant for the Lakers. I think that's good. He got that legacy deal already.
So here's what the Hall of Fame mogul is doing. The opposite of what happened with Charles Oakley. He's being an enforcer in the boardroom. And he's gravitating the most influential name in Lakers history, his, and the most influential name in this modern era of Lakers history, Kobe Bryant. So that now when fans and media hear those names, they're going to say, yeah, he's right. Get Jeannie out of there. Get Jim out of there. We want to see Magic and Kobe running the team.
I just feel like the Buss family is like, this is not what we had in mind, Mr. Johnson. when we signed you that paper. We didn't really know that this was going to be your tactics. And now that you're here, maybe we need to have another meeting and just talk about some policies that we have here and how we deal with things, especially through the media.
If you want to look in the mirror as it relates to the Lakers and the Knicks and parallel what they have in common besides Phil Jackson, they both represent in ownership when nepotism goes wrong.
And they also represent teams that are not performing well in the standings but are performing well in the Forbes list.
Yep.
Who's the head coach of the Michigan Wolverines football team?
The gentleman you affectionately call
The Kanye West of college football?
Jim Harbaugh.
Well, he's hired a offensive analyst, Mr. Rose. Gentleman by the name of Mike Johnson. He's a former
Mike who?
Mike Johnson. Former 49ers offensive coordinator under Mike Singletary. But here's the thing, Mr. Rose. Mike Johnson Jr. is one of the top dual-threat quarterbacks of the 2019 high school class.
Bet move.
Do you think that had anything to do with his being hired as a Michigan Wolverine offensive analyst?
It has plenty to do with it because there are people playing checkers in collegiate football. Those that are playing chess, Saban comes to mind. The Ohio State Buckeyes and what they do come to mind with Urban Meyer. In order to beat those guys, you got to do what they're doing. And that's what they do.
And they're not breaking the rules. This isn't against the rules. You know, Mike Johnson has a nice resume, but something tells me that if he didn't have a son that could potentially be the future quarterback of the Michigan Wolverines, that he would not be an offensive analyst for the Michigan Wolverines.
Nope.
That move.
I feel like Harbaugh is just really good at just towing the line of what's legal and what's not. He's just really good at just getting his name out there and getting these sort of wink things done. Because if Mike Johnson Jr. is, deciding where he's going to play college football, do you think maybe he would want to play college football? I don't know, where his dad is the offensive coach?
How about if Mike Johnson comes out and says he going to Ohio State? See how long his dad had that job.
Yeah, exactly. Now, there's a lot of discussion about Tom Brady playing into his 40s and Jimmy Garoppolo and whether or not they're going to trade Garoppolo. And here's what Edelman had to say about Garoppolo. Quote, "I'm not a paid GM, so I don't know the whole value thing. But as far as a guy that I could play with every single day, Jimmy Garoppolo, he's a stud." He later went on to say, he's got that kind of gunslinger confidence, that Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers kind of confidence. What's Edelman doing here?
So, who does Julian Edelman have allegiance to besides himself?
The Patriots organization?
Who was Julian Edelman on late-night talk shows with after they won the Super Bowl?
A gentleman by the name of Bill Belichick.
Who is Julian Edelman's current quarterback?
A gentleman by the name of Tom Brady.
You notice he wasn't used in that example?
Mm-mm.
That's one. Two, all he's doing is trying to inflate Garoppolo's value so that his team can get a high return. If Bill Belichick felt like Garoppolo or Jacoby Brissett should be the heir apparent to Tom Brady, guess what he would do?
Keep him.
He would keep him. Let me say that again. Whichever one of those players he think is better long-term to replace Tom Brady, what is he going to do?
Keep him.
Okay. How many games has Jimmy Garoppolo played football starting in the National Football League?
I believe 2? 1?
Okay. There are teams out there so desperate that if somebody gives up a first-round pick for a guy that's only started 2 games in the National Football League, I seriously feel like the owner should come down and fire that person immediately.
You can call 985-80-JALEN and leave us voicemails. On Wednesday, we take questions from the ladies. Let's listen to the first one.
Hi, Jalen and Jacoby. This is Dot from Atlanta. I am a loyal listener and watcher of your show. I wanted to know, Jalen, who was part of your banana boat crew when you were in the league? Thank you, guys. Keep giving the people what they want. Take care. Bye.
Great question from Dot in Atlanta.
Peace up, A-Town down. I appreciate each and every individual that supports our program. For those that have been faithful listeners, on a Woman Crush Wednesday, I have to break something to you.
What's that?
I don't care if you live in my house growing up, i.e. my brothers. We are from the same hometown, play on the same collegiate basketball team, have the same agent. There is no group of individuals I could name that I will be on a banana boat with.
Why is that? Why do you have this hang up about the banana boat? It looks like fun.
Not gonna be able to do it.
Thank you so much for the call, Dot. Let's listen to the next voicemail on Women Crush Wednesday.
Hey, Jalen and Jacoby. This is Carolyn from Prince George, British Columbia. I just wanted to say I love your podcast, and my husband has been a devoted listener for many years, and it's his birthday tomorrow, which is Women Crush Wednesdays. Anyway, my question for you guys is, have you ever met somebody who made you go, holy cow, I just met? Anyway, keep getting them checks. Love the show. Bye.
Thank you so much. International callers are always the best. Always my favorite. Prince George, Canada, Carolyn. Great oysters from Prince George. I like oysters. Love me some Prince George oysters. Actually, I'm thinking Prince Edward Island, to be honest with you. Jalen Rhodes.
What up, dog?
Have you met anyone and just sort of been floored a little bit by it?
Sure. I don't get starstruck really often, but there are a list of maybe 6 or 7 people that I could rattle off the top of my head that I felt as such about. Halle Berry. Obama.
Yep, he's on my list.
Muhammad Ali. And I'll just rapid fire these next couple. Bill Russell, Magic, Isaiah, Bird, Jim Brown, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
For me, 2 people come to mind that I've met that just sort of blew me away. One is Barack Obama over at his house, stealing toiletries from the bathroom.
I hope the new president come lock you up for that.
The second is Leroy from MTV's The Challenge. Me and the Podfather, we're in Vegas playing horse. Leroy from The Challenge showed up. He's a Detroiter, Jalen. You'd love the Leroy. And I loved it. Thank you so much for the call, Carolyn. I'm sorry I confused your hometown with Prince Edward Island. That is where the oysters are from that I love. Let's listen to the next voicemail.
Hey, what up, though? This is Sydney, calling from Philly, originally from Naptown. I'm calling because I'm watching this OKC game, and I'm wondering if a Melo to OKC trade could happen. I mean, would that make sense? Just wanted to get you guys' input. Keep giving the people what they want.
Thank you so much for the call, Sydney. Jalen, any chance Melo goes to the Thunder?
Melo could go to the Thunder. Melo could go to the Kings. The problem is Melo has a no-trade clause. Yep. And because of that, he's only going to go to a team that he feels like legitimately has a chance to win this year's championship and or have a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
And when you watch Russell Westbrook play basketball, they could be up 20. And you know one thing he isn't doing? Having fun. He's intense. He wants to win every possession. This is why I went from defending him like his agent a few years ago to now hearing some of those same people who were criticizing him say he's their favorite player. So I don't see that happening.
No.
And he will be in New York.
To make the money work, it'd be like a Cantor and somebody else. And Cantor is just, if you're the Knicks, why would you ship out Melo and get back Enes Cantor? Thanks so much for the call, Sydney. Let's listen to the next voicemail.
Hi, Jalen. Hi, Jacoby. My name is Tanya, and I'm calling from Kernersville, North Carolina. I just want to say that I disagree with Jalen on the All-Star voting issue. I believe the All-Star weekend is a weekend for the fans. And so I think that 100% of the vote should go directly to the fans. I don't think the media should be able to vote. I don't think that players should be able to vote.
Tanya's saying give the people what they want, Jalen. Give the people what they want. Give power to the people. Let the people decide who plays in the All-Star game. Why not?
Is this the first Women's Crush Wednesday that I'm having a quarrel with one of the female callers?
Mm-hmm. And she had a little sauce in her voice when she was speaking
Right.
to you.
Like, wait a minute.
She's like, you are wrong, Jalen.
Hold on.
You are 100% wrong, she
Wait a
said.
minute, I might
Shout
have
out
to
to
text
Tanya.
Molly and ask her if it's okay for me to engage in it.
Yeah, Tanya was upset with you.
Whoa.
Tanya just wants to give the people what they want. My problem with that is the Zaza Pachulia stuff. You know,
Preach to me.
and like the goofy stuff, and like, you know, the international players that, and, you know, and all of a sudden Justin Bieber tweets about you, or you're dating a Kardashian, and it's too easy to game the system. And you can vote more than once. You know? So it just doesn't feel appropriate to have the fans vote, because the fans would put Zaza Pachulia in the All-Star game.
It can't be a popularity contest when you can vote more than once. The All-Star weekend, Tanya, it still is for the fans. I just don't think they should vote for the All-Star starters. Nope. They should vote for the last 2 spots.
Oh, that's interesting. Or the replacements. There's always replacements.
So, for example, Kevin Love can't play. Fans should vote for the replacement. And that
who's getting
popular
in?
vote should get that person in.
I wonder who that spot's going to go to. We'll learn soon.
I'll tell you who it's going to go to.
I don't know off the top of my head.
I do. I'll tell you who it's going to go to.
You're looking it up right now.
I don't have any information in front of me. If I had all of the Eastern Conference teams in front of me, let me tell you right now. The player's going to come from not the Cavs, not the Celtics.
It could be Embiid, but he's hurt.
Not from the Hawks. Not from the Wizards.
Beal.
How about
Anthony.
this?
Give me Anthony. Give me Carmelo Anthony.
The person that's going to replace him is Carmelo Anthony.
Give me Carmelo Anthony. I would love that. Let's listen to the next voicemail.
Hi, Jalen and David. This is Dot from Atlanta, Georgia. I am a loyal podcast listener. I have a question for both of you. What's the better city to raise 3 girls in? Should my husband and I go to Canada or stay in Atlanta? Thanks. Keep giving the people what they want. Bye.
Dot, thanks again for the call. It's 2 voicemails from Dot today. Jalen, something tells me that you have some experience with this.
I do. If you want health care, stay in Canada.
She's in Atlanta. She's thinking about moving to Canada.
Okay. Well, if you want health care, move to Canada. If you...
Don't get fired, Jalen.
And now, the Don't
I'll
Get
say
Fired
this.
topic of the day.
So a couple of things. I love this great nation that we call the United States of America. So I would not want anyone to leave for any other country. So I would say continue to raise your family in Atlanta, not in Canada, unless you need health care.
Jalen, we're going to open up our 1-800-Flowers Twitter feed because we have a simple model on this show. Part of giving the people what they want is taking their questions. These questions are about All-Star Game and All-Star Weekend. The first question we have is from the Loganator. More likely to happen at All-Star Game, Russ puts up a triple-double off the bench, or KD and Russ start a conversation?
KD and Russ, they're going to be teammates this weekend. There are going to be media obligations. There are going to be practices. There's going to be so many insulated opportunities where they're in the same place at the same time, on buses, in locker rooms, on and off wax, in front of media, in front of fans, in front of league execs. And there are 4 Golden State Warriors on the All-Star team and only 1 member of the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Here's what I want to see happen. I think that they will talk. They will. They're going to, like you said, they're going to be at practice together, and there's going to be this tension in the room. And it's not like they take all-star game practices that serious. Somebody not named KD or Russ is going to kind of cut the tension and sort of make a joke and make them kind of like talk to each other or laugh at something. So by the all-star game, they will have spoken. And, they're probably not going to be best friends, but they'll be jovial and talking with each other. But here's what I want to have happen, Jalen Rose. I want KD to get the ball while Russ is on the floor. I want Russ to steal the ball from KD and then put up a shot. That's what I want to see happen. Because I think it'll be funny. And I think that everyone will realize that that's funny. I think even KD would smile at that. Like if KD's posting somebody up and Russ just comes from behind, steals the ball, and then puts up a shot, I would absolutely love to see that.
But that doesn't feed the narrative that Russell Westbrook would like. Because you're suggesting that he's taking the ball out of KD's hands, which was a lot of people's critique for so many years of Russell. So I don't think he's going to feed that narrative. I do, however, have the mediator in mind for you that can mend the fence publicly, privately at the All-Star weekend. A person they played together with, James Harden.
Interesting. I just don't see that being Harden's role. I could see like a Steve Kerr. I think Steve Kerr at the practice is just going to pull everybody aside. Florida man wants to know, what is it going to take for Hassan Whiteside to stop being overlooked?
Wins.
Yeah, that's kind of it.
That's how the league works.
24-32 right now with the Heat. They've lost 2 in a row.
They did an amazing job going on an outstanding win streak. Like I've said all year, Dwayne Wade was going to regret leaving Miami. Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra put an exclamation point on that when they went back to Chicago during the period of time where Butler and Wade were feuding with their teammates and coaching staff.
Yep.
And he was a substitute that day while they were on a win streak with 0 All-Stars. So with that being said, the next level for Whiteside, no different from Boogie, Anthony Davis, or any other star players on lottery teams. He will eventually, because of his stats, make it to the All-Star game. But when you talk about taking it to the next level of popularity, that happens when you win.
Yep. He's averaging 16.7 points a game, 14 rebounds a game, and 2 blocks. It's pretty good. But when your team is 24-32, and those are your numbers, it's easy to be overlooked in the National Basketball Association. He said after a loss recently that he did his job, which I don't like. If you were on the Heat and someone said, well, I did my job tonight, how would you feel about it?
Well, I don't have to worry about it because he won't say that again. I bet you that.
Kendall Smith wants to know, who is going to win this year's three-point and dunk contest?
I don't care who wins the dunk contest.
Really? You don't care who wins the dunk contest?
Klay Thompson.
You don't care who wins the dunk contest?
Correct. Who's in it?
DeAndre Jordan, Derek Jones, Aaron Gordon, and I'm forgetting the last one.
My point exactly. You don't either.
I care. I like the dunk contest a lot.
If you cared, you would know who's in it.
I do know who's in it.
That's like saying, I want to make it. I do this to young people all the time as a challenge. I want to make it to the NBA.
Glenn Robinson III is the other one.
And I would say, how many teams in the NBA? And if they don't know, I tell them they got to be a better student of their craft. If you're forcing me to answer that question, I would say my little brother, Glenn Robinson III.
Derek Jones Jr. had a very casual 360 between the legs dunk in warm-ups. I think he's practicing.
In what part of the game?
Warm-ups. Oh. DeAndre Jordan, I don't know. He's just too tall, man. It's hard to win when you're tall. Dwight Howard won, but it's just hard to win when you're tall.
I said this years ago. They could have had all of the big men in the dunk contest. DeAndre Jordan, Andre Drummond,
Dwight Howard. Should the All-Star game determine home court advantage during the NBA Finals? That's from Smokey Rondo.
Of course not. I don't like the idea for baseball. What? But here's what I need to say on wax, a couple of things. We acknowledged the Serge trade to Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
Hand claps, finger snaps to the Denver Nuggets. I love Jokic and Plumlee.
I love
playing
Plumlee
together up front.
I understand why Portland did that deal. They're basically saying we don't want to sign Plumlee and kind of lock in our roster as this roster for an extended period of time, especially with our current record. But when you watch Blazers games, which I often do because I live on the West Coast, Plumlee's impressive. He's far and away my favorite Plumlee. And he's just athletic. He plays defense. He dunks. He can shoot a jump shot. Like, I love that Plumlee. It was an interesting trade, though. It was like, who's winning here? Like, what are y'all doing? But it worked out.
Well, it wasn't necessarily because of Plumlee. It's because of the people that they committed so many dollars to in the offseason. Evan Turner, $70 million approximately. Same with Allen Crabbe. 7-foot Justin Bieber, Myers Leonard got like 40. And so you need those guys to play every night.
Yeah, I'd say all three of those they're not particularly excited about moving forward.
Nope. Hey, Jacoby, also, we must pay homage and salute because on this date in 1999, we lost the lyrical assassin, Big L.
If you're young and you missed the Big L era, the short-lived Big L era, just Google Big L and listen to some music.
What was your favorite Big L record?
Probably Ebonics.
Mine, too. Classic. Yep. He got a crazy freestyle with Jay-Z they can Google, too.
I believe that was on the Stretch and Bobbito show. Big shout out to Bobbito Garcia. First question is from Miles. What's the starting price for Jalen or Jacoby to walk around dressed like CeeLo? And he's talking about CeeLo from the Grammys, who I'm sure you saw. Dressed in all gold.
I did.
Looking like C-3PO.
Dressed like a gold globe.
He looks so mad. Like if I'm dressed that crazy, I'm gonna smile about it. You know, like I don't know why he was so angry. I didn't really understand what he was going with there. But what would be the price, Jalen? Do you do one Jalen and Jacoby dressed like CeeLo did? There's everything. Everyone's got a number. What would be the number?
On this show, to be honest, for the people, it wouldn't cost me much.
If we got that outfit, would you wear it on Jalen and Jacoby?
I would.
Okay,
it wouldn't cost me a lot.
You know you're speaking into a microphone.
It wouldn't cost a lot.
If we can record this, it's on wax.
But you're leaving out a part that's going to cost.
No, if you don't think that our producers are right now Googling how to buy a gold robe and a silly gold plastic hat and spray paint you head to toe in gold.
That's the part you missing.
What's that?
The spray paint me part.
What?
That's what's going to cost.
No, Jalen, you said it on wax. We're putting you in the CeeLo outfit.
You said the clothes.
Quick programming announcement. We're going to be dark on television for the next couple weeks as our producers work on other things and get prepared for Jalen and Jacoby to be bigger and better. But, as always, we'll be on ESPN Radio 7 to 9 Eastern. Yep. And we'll be putting out podcasts because we give the people what they want. Next question is from Piero. Shouldn't Reggie be mic'd sometimes? Feels like censorship.
Nope.
I don't think it's censorship. But one thing, when sometimes Reggie says some crazy stuff in our ear during the show, and that's probably why he's not mic'd. You know?
Yep.
Sometimes he gets
I'll
real
tell you
mad.
the number one reason he ain't mic'd. I'll tell you the number one reason, so nobody ever has to ask this question again.
Okay.
Until he takes my job one day. I'll tell you why. Because he said Cameron was trash.
Yes. You can't get a mic because you can say something like that into it. He said Cameron was trash.
And Cameron is one of me and Jacoby's all-time favorites and one of the dopest people that we know. He was doper and paid in full than most actors.
Have you seen the latest stuff? With Cameron and Jim Jones going back and forth?
I did. I hate it.
The Cameron Jim Jones things makes me sad. Jalen,
Me too.
When we have a big fight and break up, we're not going to go back and forth with each other on YouTube videos. You know, airing dirty laundry and secrets from the past. You just keep it moving. You know, I don't want to see that. Jim Jones signed with Rock Nation. Rock Nation has themselves a pretty healthy roster all of a sudden.
But you don't like Tidal?
No. I mean,
So you might not hear it.
Khaled put out a Jay-Z and Beyonce song. Jay-Z and Beyonce haven't had a song together in years. I was so excited for it. I Googled it, and they were like, just click on this and sign up for Tidal. I was like, not going to be able to do it. I do like that song, though. And on the song, he talks about whether or not he's going to have a boy, and something tells me that he wouldn't put that on wax unless he knew he was going to have at least one boy. I can't believe they're having twins. I'm still upset about it.
I know you are.
You know, one thing that bothered me was they acted like Beyonce didn't really carry her last child. I don't know how that got out there, whatever. There's all these like Beyonce birthers, truthers. They're, looking at her appearances and saying that was a fake pregnancy or whatever. You know what she did? She went on the Grammys. And she's like, you think I'm carrying these kids this time? Like, can I just put this all to rest? Love Beyonce. Next question is from Telehar Gentilian. Is it me, or are a good majority of NBA players travel when they get ready to shoot a three-point shot in transition?
It's not you. It's you're allowed to get your feet together and shuffle them a little bit and when you're receiving the ball, and I know for people that don't play a lot, you appreciate this, Jacoby. If you're in between steps as you receive the ball.
Yep.
You're allowed to land and get your feet together without dribbling.
So here's my thing with traveling. It doesn't bother me so much that they don't call some of these, because the ones that I don't mind if you travel if it doesn't give you an advantage. If you're going to the hole and you take an extra step, then you get an advantage. But if you just catch the ball and it's kind of like shift a pivot foot or whatever, like, that's fine. Just keep it moving. It's no big deal. Like even that Russell Westbrook one where he just carried the ball and walked down the court. It's like whatever. He's in the backcourt. It's not a big deal. You know? You don't get an advantage from it. Basically, the traveling, everyone says it's the two steps. The traveling rule is this. Did it look awkward or did it not? That's the rule. John Towns has this question, Jalen. Why do people sleep on the Spurs? They haven't not been good for over 20 years.
Ain't no sleeping on the Spurs. They must ain't pay attention to the fact Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker are likely all to be in the Hall of Fame one day.
Yep.
Kawhi Leonard has won
Popovich.
Defensive Player of the Year the last 2 years.
Popovich will be in the Hall of Fame.
A Finals MVP, and he's one of the 2 or 3 best players in the game right now. And they have the second best record currently in the league.
They are 4 games behind the Warriors. Could they challenge the Warriors for the top spot in the Western Conference?
Here's what I appreciate. The answer to that is no. But the year the Warriors won 73 games, the Spurs won 68.
Mm-hmm. Didn't lose at home until the very end of the season. The Clippers have quietly won 3 games in a row, Jalen.
How many?
3 games in a row.
When you only win 3, Jacoby, it's going to be quiet.
That's fair. But they are sitting there in the 4th spot ahead of the Jazz and the Grizzlies and the Thunder. Do you think they will hold on to the 4th spot? Will the Clippers host a playoff series this year?
Did you think the Jazz or the Thunder will have a better record than them to start the year?
No. But I also thought that Chris Paul and Blake Griffin would be playing.
Me either.
The Rockets are 7 games back, 3 games behind the Spurs. Do you think they could challenge the Spurs for the 2 spot?
No. The consistency of the Spurs and what they do, they'll be the number 2 seed in the West. They'll have the second best record in the league.
I'm really excited for when you dress up like CeeLo, Jalen, because I know you think that no one's going to actually put you to this, but we are going, because we work in downtown Los Angeles, just like 6 blocks east of here. They've got fabric stores on fabric stores on fabric stores. Someone has a big sheet of gold fabric that we will tailor to your specifications, and you'll have a big gold robe, a plastic gold hat, and we'll put gold makeup all over you. Kelly is already ready. Our very talented makeup artist.
It's going to cost to get that makeup on me.
Why?
I got bad skin, man.
All right, fine. We won't paint your face, but we'll put everything else on you. How about that?
What about the rest of my body?
You'll see what's happening. You'll see. We're going to get you in this. John Adams has a question. I don't think this is the same John Adams that was once the president of our country. Nope. After seeing a couple of these award shows, do you think any NBA players will be politically vocal this weekend?
I don't think so. NBA players, to me, aren't as passionate about who wins awards in music and in movies to the point where they create an uproar.
But do you think they'll be politically vocal? Do you think that they will sort of make a political statement or some sort of action?
I think as long as the current administration is in tow, anytime somebody is asked something about a political topic, their commentary is going to be strong one way or the other.
Okay. Jeff Rutch has this question. Over under 25 dunks in the All-Star game.
Over under 25 points. Each team is going to probably have
25 dunks total.
Over 125 points each. I would say that's accurate.
I'd say right about that, but probably a little bit more. Here's what happens in the All-Star game. Here's what I love about the first 3 quarters of the All-Star game is everyone's just trying to show out. You know, if you have the ball and you're wide open for a 17-foot jump shot, you don't shoot it because you want to give somebody a lob for a dunk, or you want to cross somebody up, or you want to do a behind-the-back pass for a 3. That's what I love about the All-Star game. I actually like the All-Star game. A lot of people poo-poo the All-Star game for not being competitive. I don't need it to be competitive. It's a show. They put on a show. The best basketball players in the world trying to do extraordinary things with the basketball that they can't do during regular competitive games. I love the All-Star game. But I do want it to be close in the fourth quarter. Bass Reeves has a suggestion. All-Star division games instead of conferences. Less snubs, more exposure for up-and-coming stars. Your thoughts? If they had an All-Star per division.
No, because you walk down and ask the casual fan to name you the divisions, they won't be able to. While winning a division does mean something, some teams put up banners, some teams don't. I think once the NBA continues to progress, the 16 best teams will be ranked as such, not by conference.
Okay. I just want to thank everybody for listening to this podcast. This is special for the podcast. We know that we've been away for a couple days, but we'll keep giving the people what they want. You keep listening. We love no audience more than our daily podcast listeners. Big shout out to you.